This is Ironman by Black Sabbath. Before we get started, I'm going to show you a couple of the tools you'll need to know to play the song. The first one being the power chord. The power chord is a movable chord shape where you keep your fingers in the same configuration and move it around to create different sounds, like so. As you see, there's the first riff in Ironman, all formed by these two fingers just moving around the strings. Here's the configuration you're going to need to use. We're going to start on the second fret here because that's where the first chord of Ironman is. You're going to use your first finger on the second fret of the fifth string and your third finger on the fourth fret of the fourth string, and pluck only those two strings with your right hand. It should sound like that. Now, power chords, you can kind of move them around from string to string. But in this song, we don't have to do that, so we're not going to worry about that. In this song, all we need to do is move them along the string, like so. And just in case you're wondering, the frets I did there were 2, 5, 7, 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, 5, 5, 7, 7. That's the main thing. The other technique you're going to need to know is how to bend a string. We're going to bend our string here on the third string, 9th fret with our ring finger, our third finger. And I like to put a little power behind my bends by also supporting them with the second and sometimes even the first finger, all on the same string. Because the object of bending a string is pushing it upward on the fretboard as you maintain the sustain of the string. So you need to apply pressure constantly while also pushing up, like so. So what I mean is, let's pick the string. I'll bend it real slow. And you can see the pitch change as I stretch the string by bending it upward. And like I said earlier, it's important to apply constant pressure to make sure that the note sustains. So there's the two techniques you're going to need to know for Ironman. Let's move along and start learning the song. Here's the first riff to Ironman, the part where he makes the sound by detuning his guitar, actually bending the pitch higher using the tuning peg. It all starts on the open 6th string, the E string. What you're going to do is pluck that and then take the tuning peg over here and turn it counterclockwise, about a quarter turn. You want it to match the 2nd fret note, which is an F sharp note on the E string. So you want to twist it until it sounds like this. So you want it to start here on this pitch and on approximately this pitch. And then you're going to turn it clockwise to, of course, release the pitch back down. So it's going to look like this. Now, it's real important to keep a close ear on the music when you do this one. When you play it along with the music, try to match the pitch as well as you can by twisting that tuning peg until it's just in the perfect position. And then release it in the same manner that he releases it till it comes right back in tune with what he's doing. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you do it a few times, you'll be able to get the timing down. And it should sound just like the song. Let's move along to the first riff. Okay, here's that famous first riff to Ironman. It all starts on the power chord on the 2nd fret that we learned earlier. And we're going to move our fingers to the same frets that I kind of hinted at earlier. I'll tell you exactly how many strums and things like that in just a minute. Here's the exact number of strums you want to do on each chord. We start with our 2nd fret chord, one of those, go to 5th, 2 of those, up to 7th, 2 of those. Now we're going to go up to 10th fret, pluck it once, can slide our configuration down to 9th fret. And we're going to do that twice. Like so. And then we go back to 10 once. Then down to 5th twice. And up to 7th twice. So here's our pattern again. 2, 5, 5, 7, 7. 10, slide 10, slide 10. 5, 5, 7, 7. One more time. 2, 5, 5, 7, 7. 10, slide 10, slide 10. 5, 5, 7, 7. There it is. Let's move along to the verse. Okay, in the verse for Ironman, what we're going to do is the same exact moves we used in the intro part, except now we're going to just do them on one string, the 5th string with our first finger just kind of moving around too. So as you see, I just did the same thing we did for the verse riff, except with one finger. You can hear in the recording there where it doesn't sound as thick. That's because we're not using the power chord. Once again, our move is going to look like this. We're going to go 2, 5, 5, 7, 7, 10, slide to 9 twice, one more 10, to 5, to 7, 2 of each, 2, 5, 5, 7, 7, 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, 5, 5, 7, 7. And that's repeated twice during the verse. Let's move along to the second riff to Ironman. Okay, this is the second riff to Ironman. I'm going to play it along with the music so you can see where I'm at in the song when I describe this as the second riff, and you can watch my fingers as the music moves along. Okay, as you might have noticed, I did most of this with just one finger. I used my second finger just for this note here, which I bend a little bit. We'll get to that in a minute. It all starts on the 5th string, 2nd fret. We're going to do 3 of those. Move up to 5th, just once. Back to 2nd, to 1st, to open 3 times. So what we have so far is 2nd, 5th, 2nd, 1st, open. From there we go to open 6th string. Then we bring our second finger to the 3rd fret on the 6th string and bend it just a hair. Like this. And then we go back to open twice. And then to 1st fret on 5th string once. So the second half of that riff looks like this. And then the whole thing starts over. So here's the whole thing. And on the 3rd time, we stop right there. We don't do the second half of the riff. So it's about 2.5 times through for riff number 2. Let's move along to the next section. Okay, this is the chorus to Ironman. I've zoomed in a bit here for you so you can get a closer look at my left hand where most of the action is going to take place. You can also see most of my right hand here too for the picking, and I'll explain the picking to you as we go too. So this whole thing starts with our power chord, this time on the 7th fret. We're going to hit that once, let it sustain, then move it to 5th, let it sustain, then we're going to go to 7th fret, this time on the 6th string root. So our first finger is going to be on the 6th string, our 3rd finger is going to be on the 5th string. Same old chord, strum just those 2 strings, and we're going to hit those twice. So far we have this 7th, 5th, and 2 of these. Next we're going to do this little section here that goes. Again, that goes. see I'm playing it in groups of 3 notes. That's the way rhythmically it breaks down in the song. What I'm doing here is first finger on 7th fret, 6th string, then pinky, 10th fret, 6th string, move over to 5th string, first finger, 7th fret. So that's going to be our first section of 3 notes. And I downpick all of those when I play it. Next 3 notes, we're going to hit 7 again, then 8, then 9, each with a different finger. First finger, second finger, third finger. And I like to alternate pick those. So far what we have is this. And we're going to wrap it up with the same thing we just did on the last string, except on the 4th string. Also alternate picked. So we have. And that is repeated twice in the chorus. And they do that whole sequence twice, the 7-5, 2 of these, and then the riff twice. And then he goes back into the original riff number 1. Let's move along. Okay, this is what I like to call the pre-first solo riff to Ironman. It happens twice in a row in this section of the song, and then you're going to find it happens 4 times in a row in a different section of the song. And we'll put all those sections together to do a whole song play along at the end of the lesson so you can see how they all fit together. Here it is slowly. It all starts on the 9th fret with your 3rd finger, and we're going to pluck that. It's on the 4th string, by the way. 1 of those. Then we're going to do 1st finger, 7th fret. Going to bounce over here to the 5th string, and we're going to go 11, 10, 9. So what we have is 11, 9 here, 11, 10, 9. Next we slide down to 7th fret on the 5th string. Then we make the power chord we saw earlier. Hit it twice, slide up to 9th fret, and hit it 1 more time. So we have pick, pick, slide, pick. Pick, pick, slide, pick. Pick, pick, slide, pick. The whole thing looks like this. And there it is, simple as that. Next up, in the song anyway, is the solo. Let's explore that. Okay, I've divided the solo in this video into 3 different segments so that you don't have to like fast forward and rewind through one large segment to get it down. This is the first segment. I'll play it along with the music a couple times. Okay, so let's get to work on this. The whole thing starts with your 1st finger on the 7th fret of the 6th string. And we're going to hit that note and then hammer to the 9th fret. Also on the 6th string using our 3rd finger. So it's going to look like this. And then we're going to move over to the 7th fret on the 5th string. Hit that one once. And then to 9th fret on 5th string. Hit that one twice. So far what we have is this. From there we're going to pull to the 7th fret, where our 1st finger should be waiting, and then move our 3rd finger to the 6th string on the 9th fret. So that looks like this. So the whole thing. Then we go back to 7th fret. again and slide up to 11th. And then we're going to hit the 9th fret on the 4th string twice. And then hit it one more time. Hammer to 11th, also on 4th string. And then wrap it up with our first finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. From there we're going to go back to our 9th fret note on the 4th string. Hit that again, pull to 9th fret 4th string, that's 11 to 9, and then to the 11th fret on the 5th string. So we have this. This being the last note of the first segment, the highest note. And then we're starting to descend. So far we have this. And then we're going to go back to here for twice. That's 9th fret on the 3rd string. Then we're going to repeat the first figure we just saw. So the whole thing looks like this. Put it all together. Back here twice, figure again, then 9, 11, both on the 4th string, and that wraps up the lick. One more time. The next one I'm going to do is slow it down using the SoundForge program and play it through. So there's our first segment of the solo. Let's move along to the next segment. Okay, here's the second note. Basically, we're coming out of the last part of the solo that we just learned, this part. So right after this note, we're going to go to our first finger, 9th fret, 3rd string. Then we're going to follow it up with 2nd finger, 11th fret, 3rd string. And what we're going to do is bend that note. So it's going to go bent. First finger is going to bar both the 1st and 2nd strings on 9th fret. We're going to skip over the 2nd string and play that 1st string. So we have this. Next we're going to have 3rd finger on 12th fret of the 2nd string, and we're going to pluck that note and pull to the 9th where our 1st finger is already barred. Next we're going to go to our 11th fret note with our 2nd finger, and then to 9th fret 2nd string, 1st finger, and then over to 9th fret 3rd string, 1st finger. So the whole sequence looks like this. So there it is for you 3 times. After that, we're going to move over to the 11th fret on the 4th string with our 3rd finger. We're going to hit that once, 9th fret after that, 4th string, twice. Hammer back to 11th, and then back to 9th on 3rd string. So it looks like this. So the whole phrase. All right, well, here's where it gets fun now. The next segment is going to look like this. And that is an earful right there. So let's dissect it note for note. And what I'm going to do is play it slowly along with the music for you after we go note for note. But as for now, you may want to refer to the online tabs for this one because it's a big bunch of notes and they go by really quick. So you might have to sort them out by looking at them on paper. So here we go. Now we're going to bar our third, second, and first strings with our first finger and have our second finger ready to bend this note on the third string, and what we're going to do is do something that looks like this, which is bent 11th fret, hop over to first string, which should already be barred, 12th fret second string, pull the 9th, and then 11th fret on the third string, also pull the 9th. So we have this. From there, we're going to go back to the 11th, and then back to the 9th on the second string, to 12th on the second string also, and then pull back to the 9th. So you have this for your next segment. So far we have this. And that's the rhythm. And then after that, you're going to go 12 on second string, pull to 9th, and then again 11 on third string with your second finger, pull to 9th. So we're going to do this thing again. From there, we're going to go 9th fret second string, and then 9th fret first string. So our whole lick looks like this. And like I said, refer to the online tabs for that one. And then we're going to use our third finger for the next segment, and that's going to be on the second string. And then first finger on 9th fret, 2 of those, and then our big bend. 3 of those. So we have So let's put this whole thing together now. I'll take it out of the first segment so you can see how the whole thing fits together. Here it is. Quite a few notes, huh? Again. And actually that's a little tougher to do slow than it is quickly for me because I've played it so many times. So let's go ahead and to the Ironman solo. Let's move along to the last segment. Okay, this is the third and final segment of the Ironman solo. Just like in the second part where there were a lot of notes that went by really fast, with really not a particular rhythm. They just kind of fly by. It's kind of like he's cramming notes in as quick as he can. With this one, what we're going to do is kind of the same thing. And so I strongly suggest that you refer to the online tabs as you work through this, because to explain a note for note is really tough. I mean, there's notes that go by in just seconds. So here we go. I'll play it along with the music for you a couple times so you can see what it looks like. And the first notes that I played are the last notes that we looked at in section 2, the bend on the 12th fret of the first string with your third finger. So that's our kind of crossover between the two sections. That's going to be your reference note. And the end of section 2 was like this, as you may recall. From there, we're going to use our first finger on the 9th fret. We're still going to have it barred. And we're going to hammer to the 12th and then pull back to the 9th. And then we're going to move over to the 12th fret on the 2nd string, bend it with your 3rd finger, and then back to the 9th fret on the 1st string. Next, we're going to use our 3rd finger to pull from the 12th to the 9th, like so. So we have. And then we're going to do a lick similar to what we saw earlier. That one. It should sound familiar by now. We've used it 2 or 3 times in the earlier parts of the solo. So when we break it down, we end up with that. And from there, we're going to go. Which is a lot of notes to kind of get rhythmically, so so that you can hear the rhythm to it without just having me sit here and go note by note by note with the same 5 notes in different succession. What I'm going to do is slow it down with the music so that you can see it really slowly, and then it'll make a little more sense before we go over those notes. So give me a minute here with my SoundForge program. I'm going to process it using the time stretch function. And I'm going to slow it down a lot more than we would usually slow it down. Usually I slow it down, about 30%. That's what I did in the first 2 segments. But now I'm going to slow it down about 50%. Okay, so we have this so far. So note by note, we're going to go 11 to 9, then 11th fret on the 4th string, back to 9th fret 3rd string twice, then 11 pull to 9 here, down to 11th on 5th string, and then back up like that. And then eventually we're going to hit this note here, the 7th fret on the 9th fret on the 4th string, and then hammer to the 9th fret on the 4th string. And as I stated earlier, it's better just to hear this thing slowed down and watch my fingers than it is for me to sit here and try to explain it note for note. That's what I just tried to do. I didn't get it as I was explaining it because there are so many combinations of the same 5 notes over and over. I know I couldn't follow this video if I was trying to pick it up note for note. So what we'll do right now is play it along with the music a bunch more times so you can just kind of hear it slowly as my fingers move across the frets. And you might want to also refer to the online tabs as well to put this whole thing together. Here we go. So if we look at the whole solo, this is what we end up with. And that's how the whole thing is going to fit together once you get it piece by piece. Let's move along and learn the next part of the song. Okay, this is the theme that happens before and after the last solo to Ironman. I'm going to play it through for you a few times with the music. I've created a loop using SoundForge so I can play it over and over again rhythmically. The whole thing starts with your third finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string, and you might want to anchor your first finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string. And what we're going to do is pluck the 7th fret note, take it off, and we should end up with the 5th fret note. Then we go back to the 7th fret note. So what we have so far is this. And then we're going to go to back to 5th fret, hammer to 7th, and then pull to 5th. About this quickly. So the whole thing together looks like this. Then we do one more of these. 7, 5, 7. Then we're going to move over here to the 4th fret on the 4th string with our index finger, and we're going to go 4th, 5th, 4th, 5th. Quick hammer. And then back to 5th fret on 5th string using our 2nd finger. So that whole thing is 4th, 5th, 4th, 5th, hammer, pull, 5th. And when it's up to speed, it sounds like this. So when we put all those parts together, we end up with this. And that's going to happen twice before the end solo and 3 times after the end solo. There it is. Let's move along. Okay, this is the first guitar to the 2nd solo in Ironman. And I've isolated it in the right ear because that's the ear that it takes place in the mix. So if you're listening in stereo and all of a sudden one of your speakers is cut out. We went over the first solo in 3 different segments. This solo I'm going to take all in one segment. It's just as long, but there's not as many notes, so I think we can fit them all in one segment of the video. It all starts on the 5th fret of the 5th string with our 3rd finger, and we're going to use that finger to slide to the 7th, like so. Then we're going to bring our first finger over to the 5th fret of the 4th string, and then back to the 7th fret note on the 5th string. So what we have so far is this. Next we're going to do the same exact pattern, except we're going to do it on the next set of strings starting on the 7th fret of the 4th string, and it's going to look like this. So maybe you'll see the similarity there. And the notes here are 7 slide to 9, 3rd string, 7th fret, 1st finger, back to 9th fret, 4th string, 3rd finger. Then we're going to go 7, 9 on the 3rd string. And then we're going to bend this string 3 times on the 9th fret. Bring it down, pull to 7th. Bring our 3rd finger over to 9th fret here, and then back to 7th and hammer to 9. So that looks like this. And by the way, that bend is actually a step and a half, not a step. So it's going to be bent extra far. Be sure to put some extra muscle behind that string. So far, I like to consider this the first session of the solo. So we'll take it that far in a demonstration. We're going to go. So there's our first section. Next, we're going to anchor our first finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string and our 2nd finger on the 9th fret of the 3rd string. And we're going to pick them in succession starting on the 3rd string. We're going to go 3rd string, 2nd string, 3rd string. So it's going to look like this. Then our 3rd finger is going to come here to 10th fret on 2nd string. We're going to pluck that note and slide it up to 12th. And then 1st finger is going to come over to 10th fret on 1st string. And we're going to pluck that note once. So the whole thing looks like this. And then our 3rd finger is going to come up to 12th. And we're going to bend that note 3 times. Not a step and a half, just a whole step this time. So the whole lick. And then we're going to go, which is 12, pull to 10, hammer back to 12, and then back to 10. So it's going to go. And it's okay if you get a little extra string noise in there. He has a little extra string noise on the recording, so that's all right. Then we're going to go back to 12th fret on the 2nd string with our 3rd finger. And then to 10th fret on the 1st string with our 1st finger. So it's going to be... Now the next section is a really quick note. It just goes by this quick. And that's going to be a 10th fret note here on the 2nd string with your 1st finger, and a very quick hammer to the 12th fret on the 2nd string. And then we're going to slide from 12 down to 10, like so. And I consider that the second phrase of it, the part that goes. Just like that. Next we're going to go to 3rd finger, 10th fret with our 2nd string, and then back to 8th. So we're just going to go. And this is the beginning of what I consider the 3rd section of the solo. Going to do the same thing here. We're going to move it to 9th and 7th. So we're kind of going down the pentatonic scale here. And then we're going to move it from there down to the 9th fret with our 3rd finger. Slide it down to 7th and then 5th. So you see we're going right down a scale here. To go back to 7th, pull to 5th, and then go to 7th fret, 5th string with our 3rd finger. So that whole thing looks like this. And that's the rhythm to it too. He just plays it a lot faster. Then we're going to go to 5th fret with our 1st finger and hammer to 7th, all on the 4th string. Move to 5th string, do the same thing. And then the same thing again here. So it's going to go. That little segment. So when we put it all together, hit 7th again for our next little piece, and slide up to 9. Bring index finger over to 7th fret on 3rd string, then back to 9th fret 4th string. So that whole segment looks like this. And then we're going to go to 7th fret, 3rd string, then to 9th, and then we're going to do our big bend to here again. And this time we're going to hit it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let it go. Quick trill between 7 and 9. So it looks like that. Back to a 7th fret, 3rd string with your 1st finger. Then we're going to slide down from 9 to 7, just like we did before. Pluck 5th, just like we did before, kind of a similar segment. And so what we have so far is this from the end of the segment. We're going to go. One more time for you. From there, we're going to go to 7th fret, 4th string with our 3rd finger. Hit it 3 times, and then 1/4. Bring it down. 1st finger, 5th string, or 5th fret rather, 4th string, and then 3rd finger comes over to 7th fret, 5th string. So we have 4 of these. Bring it down. 5th, 4th string. 7th, 5th string. So there's a whole segment. I'll play it along with the music slowly for you once or twice so you can see how it all fits in. And then we'll move on to the other half of the guitar solo, the one that's in the other ear. And by the way, when you learn these, they can be kind of hard to focus on because you hear both at the same time, and it's hard to focus on one. So I recommend panning your stereo or MP3 player, computer, what have you, to one side when you learn each one, because like I said, it is hard to focus on one when you play along because they're both going at the same time. So here we go. Here it is slow. Okay, this is the second guitar in the end solo. This solo is kind of sparse, so we're not going to slow it down. It's just a few notes here and there, a fill here and there, and it kind of echoes the first guitar and starts very similarly to the first segment of the other guitar solo. And by the way, I isolated the right side of this segment so that we only were hearing the second guitar. The first guitar is in the left side. So if you only heard it through one speaker on your computer system or stereo, that's why your stereo isn't broken. I've actually just split the signal in half. So here we go. We're going to start with 3rd finger on 5th fret of the 5th string and slide it up to the 7th fret, just like we did in the first one. Next we're going to go to 1st finger on 4th string, and then to 3rd finger on 7th fret and hit that twice. And then slide to 9th. So what we have so far is this. Then we're going to bounce over here to the 3rd string, 7th fret, 1st finger. Then 3rd finger, 9th fret, 3rd string. And then we're going to bend that 3 times. Bring it down, and then we're going to alternate between 9 and 7. And end with 2 9th fret notes, so it's going to look like this. Now for the second segment, we're going to move all the way up here to the 17th fret, and we're going to use our first finger kind of anchored on the 15th fret along with the 17th fret third finger to get some leverage for this bend, and it's going to sound like this. And then from there we're going to pull off twice. Like so. Move over to 16th fret third string with your third finger. Pluck that note once. Pull to 14th, where your first finger should be, and then slide down to 12th. This is all on the third string. So it looks like this. And then we're going to move over to 15th fret on the 4th string with our third finger. Slide to 14th, and then hit the 12th fret twice. And that's all on the 4th string. So slowly what we're looking at as a whole is this. And that flies by pretty quick. It's about like this. And it's kind of disjointed. It's kind of like sloppy, like I just played it. I just played it the way he plays it. So if that sounded a little sloppy, that's exactly how he does it. That's how you want to do it. Something like that. Next up, we're going to have two bends on the 9th fret, big step and a half bends, just like we had in the first part of the solo. And by the way, there's quite a bit of a pause between this lick we just did here and that bend lick there. And that's all there is to it in that section. Then we're going to have a little bit of a pause, and we slide from 7th fret 4th string to 9th fret 4th string after that, and hit 9th fret twice. And then we slide back down, pull the 5th 3 times, and then 7 on 5th string, and 5 also on 5th string. So with that said, let me do it with the music for you one more time so that you can kind of see how all the pieces that we just learned fit together. Like I said, there's a lot of pauses between different sections of the licks, and it's a very sparse solo. When you play this, you want to focus and try not to pay attention to the solo in the other ear. That'll help you a lot. And by the way, for those of you who are ambitious and try to put things together,